Hey ladies, it's your girl Alicia S. And I just wanted to talk to you about my financial story. I know it's been a long time coming. I tried to do this several different times, like via Facebook Live and other platforms, but I think this is kind of the best way to go about it. So here I am once again. I want to just fast forward and telling this story. I just want to fast forward straight to 18 years old because it's pretty much given that anything before that, my parents took care of. But I do want to say this: I've worked since 14, at age of 14, so I maintained summer jobs every summer, and then as soon as I hit 16, that was the actual legal age in Connecticut to work. I basically maintained employment for the most part. I think I probably went maybe 6 months without having a job. So at 18, I leave for college, right? I started off at the Art Institute of Philadelphia. So now, mind you, I was told that I could get all of these student loans, but then once I enrolled, those loans were no longer available to me. But honestly, that was a blessing in disguise. We'll get to that later. I was forced to work. My family really didn't have any money to support me going to college. My grandmother did she would have these spades tournaments and to send me money to college, and I was so grateful for that. And I would blow the money like a fool. She would send me $200 and $300 and maybe $400, and I would blow the money. Doing stupid stuff like going to the store and buying faux baby fat furs, right? My student my tuition, I had to pay about $500 every month, right? And at 18, $500 was so much money. It was maybe like $425 if I'm exact, but it was so much money. I don't even know why in my head it was so much money. I guess anything that you don't want to pay is so much money, right? You don't want to pay that bill. It's so much money. But I did find a lot of ways to get scholarships and things, but it just still wasn't enough. So I reduced my class um, size. Right, most kids take 5 classes. I took 4 classes, and so my bill was $500 a month with that. Now, mind you, I was also staying on campus, which was also a whole nother expense in itself. Right, we didn't have food plans because the way the school was set up, there were no dining plans. So I had to basically just eat on the economy. So there was Wendy's at the corner, their dollar menu, value menu. I think Wendy's is called value menu. I lived for the value menu. Some nuggets, some fries, a soda with no ice. That was good. Oh God, in hindsight. So mind you, the whole college thing was just so crazy for me. All of my roommates there was 5 of us in an apartment style in total. So 2 of us in my room. One girl had a room by herself, and then there was another room. There was another 2 girls in that room. We didn't really share. That just really wasn't our thing, right? But that was me. I was coming from a place of family that shared everything, and I wanted to share everything with everybody, which was in the end ended up being a bad thing for me, because it wasn't reciprocated. But also in high school, I was constantly told that I needed to go to a 4-year college. So I feel like if I had to do it all over again, I would go to a 2-year college, right? Because when you're coming from a low income household, the FAFSA loan, the FAFSA grant, right? Free money usually covers the cost of the tuition, right? So I could have taken 5 classes, got all of my books, even got a laptop, all from the financial aid, and then even had extra money in my pocket, right? I could have stayed at home with my mom or lived with my grandmom or whomever, and worked part time, saved money, and life would have been so good, right? But this is like that. College is a surefire way that if you do not have good guidance, that can completely destroy you. that could completely destroy you. So make sure you're talking to as many people as possible. If you're in your teens now and you're going up and college is next for you, talk to as many people as possible, right? I would talk to financial advisors. I would talk to people, but only super successful people. Don't talk to your school administrators, right? Don't talk to, I mean, you can, I guess, but just be cautious because a lot of them kind of give a lot of bad information. Talk to people who are successful. Even if you don't know them, if you go to City Hall and walk through City Hall and talk to anybody who works in City Hall and find out what their story is, and then come up with your own plan. I think education should be free. So if you're not going to school on a full ride through scholarships, financial aid, and financial aid isn't covering it, I would go that route, right? The 2-year school and then transfer over to the 4-year school, right? Or I ended up joining the military, but that story is to come. So in my second semester at the Art Institute of Philadelphia, I left in the middle, not even in the middle of the semester, at the very beginning, but I had already passed the refund period. So I left in like February. I decided to leave because my mom got pregnant with my youngest brother, and so my mom got pregnant with my youngest brother, and I just wanted to be home for that. I'm a big family girl. I've always been a big family girl. So I left, I went home, and it wasn't until weeks later after I was already, disenrolled, that's novella, when I found out that I still had to cover the cost of this whole tuition. So now I had to pay this off. I applied to Parsons, which was in New York City, and it was my dream school, and I got in. But I couldn't enroll until I paid off the tuition for this other school. So I owed them a great deal amount of money. So I did enroll, and I ended up enrolling in a community college. But because I had such a bad taste in my mouth about, I was given bad advice about community college, I never took it seriously, right? So I was not even really passing classes. I, was just BSing. I don't even know what I was doing, right? So I would drop classes if they weren't easy. I was taking 2 and 3 classes at a time. I just I wasn't focused, not even a little bit, right? And again, I think a lot of adults do not realize the information that they give children and teenagers, young people in general, how it impacts them long term. So, what happened after that? Oh, God, sorry, guys. So, yeah, I continued to work, and then I ended up opening up a little dress shop, right? So I would try to sew and sew clothes and sell them, which was okay. But again, I was so caught up in this world of images, right? Versus really putting my head down, working, making things happen. I just wanted to look like I was making things happen more than actually making things happen. And I feel like where I'm from in Connecticut, that is a disease that spreads throughout the land, honey. It's so bad. Everyone suffers from it. So I decided, I had a friend, Sebastian, he passed away in 2010, but he was in the military. So I hadn't seen him since he graduated high school, and he just called me one day randomly, and we were talking. I missed him so much, but he was telling me what he had done. He had joined the Air Force, and he was away at school, and all of these different things that was going on. And so that just kind of sparked an idea, and I was like, okay, well, I'll do the same thing. Let me at least just go check it out. So I went to check it out. I spoke to the recruiter, and he was like, what are your biggest issues? And I was like, paying for school, and I don't have any medical insurance, right? Because that was something I didn't have. I didn't pay for it through school, right? I was always looking for the short-term, easy way out. The schools do offer you medical insurance, but you just have to pay about $1,000 a semester for it. So I'm working. I think at this point I ended up being a manager at a clothing store in the mall or something like that. But I was only maybe making $10 an hour. right? Which totaled $400 a week. And then that's before taxes, right? So I was dead broke. I was dead broke. I was trying to maintain my, little dress shop. I was also working as a manager in the clothing store in the mall, and I was dead broke. I was dead broke. I didn't know how to manage money. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anyone to tell me, right? With my mom, our relationship was real tumultuous at the time, so she was more so of the mind frame of more so teasing me than teaching me. And you know how we are, especially at that age, you have way too much ego. And I still have a lot of ego, if I'm being completely honest. But you don't, I did not want to give her an opportunity to tease me, right? Asking her for advice or guidance or even for money. I did not want to give her, that power. So I go into the recruiter's office. So, let me tell you guys this. Things had gotten so bad. Like, I had a car that I was financing. I couldn't pay for. My cell phone bill wasn't being paid. I was maybe putting $20 a month on my cell phone bill. Credit cards, all in collections. Like, it was horrible. Like, horrible. I had no idea how I was going to pull myself out of this situation. Because, again, another thing that they do when you're in college is they tell you, to get a credit card to help you pay for expenses, right? So I got this credit card, or several credit cards, 3 of them, to help me pay for books, food, and honestly, more often than not, I was buying clothes. For what, Alicia? For what? So, my car was pretty old. It was like a 1998 Nissan Sentra, right? It was called a 200SX, but they don't make them anymore. They're very similar to Sentras. And it had bullet holes in it. That's a whole nother story. I'll save that for another day. But it had bullet holes in the back. The car dealership, nobody wanted this car, period. Nobody wanted this car, and I definitely was not. I was afraid. Let me tell you this. I was afraid of the repo man coming to take the car. So every time I saw a tow truck, I would run. So every time I saw a tow truck, I thought it was the repo man. I was gone. I would take flight. So, excuse me, like I hit my car in my mom's backyard. But they didn't want my car, They were like, I think it was Capital One who had my loan at the time. They were like, listen, you own like $6,000 left on your loan. It's going to collections. Just pay it as you can. And so that's what I did. And then a couple years later, I ended up, the car ended up being totaled out by the insurance company, and they paid me, and I ended up paying the rest of that loan off or whatever. But what happened was, leading up, I ended up joining the military out of absolute necessity, right? So I joined the Air Force Reserves, and it absolutely changed my life. I will say this, though. I have what you call a top secret security clearance. And with that, while they were doing the investigation for it, I was so embarrassed because I had made so many financial mistakes. I didn't even want to tell them, but I had no other choice but to tell them, so I would try to sugarcoat it. Like, hey, so this happened. And hey, so this happened. And then, and so they were actually, I guess, oddly enough people go through financial issues, especially when they're young, that they were really understanding about it all. And they were like, listen, all you have to do is just clean it up, and I was so grateful that they gave me that opportunity. So that's exactly what I did. I put my head down and I started to just clean up my financial baggage. I used a lot of the money that I made, in the military, cleaning up my financial baggage. So different areas. So I made deals with credit card companies, and I paid a fraction of whatever it is that they were trying to charge. And as time went on, 7 years passed, and all of that stuff basically ended up falling off my credit report anyway. So there was a lot. By the time I joined the military, I had to have $15,000 in debt, maybe, not including my student loans, maybe $15,000 in debt. And so from the ages of 23 through to 27-ish, 26, maybe 25. Yeah, I think it was 25. I think 23 to 25. I took those 2 years, put my head down, and um, I paid off everything. Uh, everything, medical bill, everything. And it felt good to be in a much better place. But now, even though I paid off everything, I still didn't qualify for any credit, right? So what I did, I ended up getting a secured credit card through one of the banks, right? So I put like $250 on a credit card, and every month I would then put $50 more on that card until I got to about $3,000. And so, I would maybe use it for my cell phone bill or whatever, and then pay it back off, right? So at this point, what happened? I ended up getting another car, right? I ended up getting another car I needed a loan for, and I got such a crappy deal because my insurance, because what happened, right? Because my credit was so bad. I ended up getting a deal that was like 19% interest, something insane, something so crazy. But I ended up paying I ended up paying the card off, the car off so early that interest didn't even matter. But so between me paying the car off and me having a secured credit card, I was building my credit. So I think I was maybe at like 660 or something like that when I met my husband. And then I was afraid at this point to apply for anything, right? To apply for anything. But then when I met him, he has these questions. He's like, "Hey, what's your credit score?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, you're intrusive." But I told him I was honest. I was honest about everything, about everything. And I think the good thing about certain men, great men, I guess, they're not really going to be scared off by, past mistakes that you are working to, fix, versus like you keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, right? So I think with me saying, "Hey, yeah, my credit score is in the 600s, but like I don't have any credit cards or whatever. I don't have any debt, except my student loans, but my credit is here, and I made some mistakes in the past or whatever." He's like, "Okay, I got you." So we were deployed. That's how we met. We're both military, and we were deployed to the desert. Yes, the Middle East. And he then, as soon as we got back, right, we deployed from different environments, but we spent our time there, and then we decided we wanted to be together. So he uprooted his life and moved to where I was. But in that process, he's also like, "Look, apply for this credit card. Apply for this credit card. Do this, do that." So I started to do that. I just did it, and I let go and let God, right? Because being a black woman, right, most of us are taught not to really trust men, but I trusted him. And then before I knew it, I had a 750 credit score, right? And then it kept going up from there. And before I knew it, I was able to qualify for, a $400,000 mortgage. And then an American Express card. I got another car at a 4% interest rate. People are like basically clamoring down my front door to give me anything, right? I was able to get rental properties and different things like that. I know with this story I am leaving out so much, but that was pretty much the quick version. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave a comment below, or you can reach us. You can reach me at any social media at AP Femininity. Please tell me also what your financial story was like, right? Like, if you pulled yourself out, even if you haven't pulled yourself out, if you have any questions. So hopefully we're going to turn this into a series. If I get enough response to this, I'll turn this into a series where we can talk about, the best credit cards. We can talk about, good mortgages versus bad mortgages. We could talk about different things, because as a female, you want to make sure that you are in a great position financially. Always. You want to always be in a great position. What else can I say? Again, at AP Femininity. Tell me your thoughts. Bye.